Welcome to this week's episode of Be Bell. I have a fabulous guest for you. We talk her lovely, beautiful story, and I say beauty with capital B. So welcome today to Ellen Kavanagh-Jones. This series of Be Bell podcast is brought to you by award-winning skincare brand, Irish-founded, female-founded Ellen & Jo by the amazing Charlene Flanagan and Neve Ryan. I will tell you more about Ellen & Jo during this episode. Ellen, thank you so much for joining me today. I know how busy you are, so welcome.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
No, listen, so Be Bell is all about the person behind the businesses or behind the careers. So where did it all start?
Well, God, that's a great question and a long one. I'll try and keep it short and sweet. So I didn't ever have any aspirations to work in beauty. I don't even remember, do I remember going to salons or have that experience of being in it? So it kind of just was one of those things that happened. I had left school, I'd done my leave and I didn't fill out any CAO or have any kind of college things. My dad passed away when I was 16, so it kind of threw me off track maybe of committing to, you know, my education or what that would look like afterwards.
And did you enjoy school? Like, we'll go back a little bit. Like, so when you
loved school.
Where did you go to school?
Locally, actually, to here in Churchtown, Notre Dame for my secondary school,
Oh, I have friends that went there.
Yeah,
amazing.
It's only around the corner.
And when you were at school, like, were you? You know, some kids love school. I loved sport. Like, what was your goal? What interested you?
In primary school, I loved it. I mean, I just couldn't get enough. I wanted to be like a teacher or a nun.
Okay.
So, or a nun teacher.
You really did like it.
You know, loved it. And then I think going into secondary school was, I think in hindsight, it was quite difficult for me.
Okay.
Because I went and I knew a couple of the girls, but it was a totally new environment and I didn't really find my place. You know, looking back now, I was kind of flitting from one group to another group because I didn't know where I fitted in, and I did love the school setup, and maybe it was reading all the, you know, Mallory Towers books and that I liked that part of it and the structure, and I was in choir and, you know, those parts of it.
Yeah.
So there was a lot I loved, and I was lucky that when I was choosing subjects, I was able to get the subjects I liked. So they were all creative. So I was able to do art and music and home ec, you know, and a language, which I know now can be really difficult, you know, because they try and choose, you know, maybe a science or a this or. So I was quite lucky that I actually was doing things that I really liked all the time.
Yeah.
So I think up to maybe my junior cert, I was very much into the, you know, academic of it and the school life.
Yes. And were you sporty at all?
No.
Yeah,
not
I think people
I'm still waiting for that to land.
Well, cool. It gets harder as well, doesn't it? But
I'm waiting to find my sport.
Well,
you know,
we'll chat after. I might have one for you. But and did both your parents work?
So my dad worked until he got ill and then he was unable to work. So he had MS.
Okay.
And he was diagnosed the year I was born.
Oh, wow.
And it was very kind of aggressive type of MS. And even now with, you know, a lot of MS diagnoses, it can be very vague. It's kind of by symptoms. And like now we're lucky we've, you know, MRIs and lumbar puncture, stuff that my dad didn't have access to in 1980. So it would have been very, very different, his outcome.
Yes.
You know, but he, so he got kind of ill with that very quickly. It was quite, you know.
And that's hard for a child, I'm sure.
Yeah, but prior to that, he was a publican. So he had pubs and he'd had hotels in his time. So he was very entrepreneurial in that sense. And his mother as well, my grandmother, she was very much the driver of, you know, their family pubs and hotel they had out in Hope.
I think it's a great start, isn't it? I grew up in pubs and hotels.
Yeah.
Same.
From what I hear, she was very much that very strong, you know, figure in probably what was not a female-led industry and hospitality at all.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there was a lot of, you know, battles she had to kind of, maybe she had to be very strong and stern to make it, you know, to do that.
But it's lovely to know that in your history, isn't it? That you had these strong women.
Yeah, so my dad came from like that hospitality background and then my mum was a nurse.
Lovely.
And, you know, back then you stopped working when you got married and had kids. But, you know, I suppose fortunately and unfortunately, sadly, her nursing obviously came into play again when she was, you know, carer for my dad.
Yeah.
For the rest of his years. You
No,
know?
absolutely.
So it was a very different dynamic. I think anyone who's kind of grown up or been in a family situation where there's a care environment, when you grow up in a carer's household, it's very different. And I think it's very different for all people involved, like all family members, even extended. Like everybody has a very different experience and memories and what they felt and how that was for them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very different kind of just memories of growing up, I guess.
No, absolutely. And I know, like, I'm, you know, my dad passed away as well. My younger sister was only 17, 18.
Yeah, I was 16, yeah.
Very different experience for her than it was for me.
Of course, yeah. And everybody deals with these things so differently. You know, so me being at that time in my school life, I kind of was just like, what's the point?
No, absolutely.
Do you know when you see your parent die, you're just going, well, maths is not that important. You know, at that time, I kind of threw it out. And I did have some great teachers who really tried and were like, come on, just try to get back on it. But I just think I was kind of passive. And I just got it done and left. And I really didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah, I don't think
so it just was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure, who cares anyway?
And so what did you do coming from school?
So I really was I didn't know what to do. I did a few different kind of courses and things like that. One was in like this, actually, TV production and producing and presenting and all of that. So I did that. And then I was just a bit lost. And I think my mum just had enough and was like, get out and get a job. Don't come back till you have one. So I went to my best friend. She lives actually around the corner, her family house. And I went there being like, you know, I need somewhere to stay. And they welcomed me with open arms for like the 24 hours of the drama that it was. But then when I woke up, they were all gone to work and to college. And I thought, oh God, I better go and get one of these things because everyone has one. So I went into town and I just went into French Connection. It was kind of newish, you know, at the time.
What year would that have been?
About 1999,
okay,
maybe.
Yeah, it would have been very fresh.
Yeah. And actually thinking back, it's kind of not sad, but I picked there and I only put my CV in there and put my CV in and they were like, thanks a million. And then my mum's like, then, you know, days later, what's happening? And I was like, yeah, like, why haven't they rung me? Like, why haven't I working there?
Yeah.
You know, completely clueless.
It's madness.
And rang them and I was like, you know, I put my CV in. So like, why haven't you called me? And like, why haven't I working in your shop? So they were like, oh, okay, come in. They must have thought I really wanted it. So I didn't realise, you know, I just was like,
a process.
Yeah, like, why wouldn't I get a job? You know, I put the CV in. That's what you're supposed to do.
Isn't that great to think?
But my reasoning why there was that it was just off Grafton Street, and I thought all the people I went to school with and that were gone to college and that actually had a plan and were living this thing that I wasn't, there was a bit of shame. Looking back now, I didn't realise that at the time, but I did pick that off street because I thought maybe I won't meet all these people.
I know.
Do you know, because I'm not
be
right
so in
there.
Their face, so visual.
Yeah, which is really interesting
mad,
to me now as an adult looking back at that kind of teenager going, wow, but actually I did really find my feet because I went in and I loved it. I loved retail. I loved meeting people, that, you know, that social element of it, this problem solving. You know, we were working in fashion. It was, and French Connection was really cool then. It was a really cool place to work, cool people in it. And, you know, people come in looking for something, you'd find out a bit about them. You know, I knew the store inside out, the stock inside out. And, you know, I really loved my time there.
And how long did you work there? Did you see it as like a retail then as a career path?
I suppose I didn't have any experience. So once I saw it, I could see, you know, that there was management levels, that there was people going, you know, off to the UK to do stuff, that we had people coming from the UK to do, you know, the visual merchandising. So I could see this industry was different than maybe what people thought, maybe what I thought going in.
Yeah.
So I became more like interested in it. And I ended up being, I suppose, headhunted really and offered another job by a customer I had coming in all the time that I was always helping with bits and bobs in the shop.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm hiring and I'm the manager of Louis Vuitton in Brown Thomas, which was again, new, really big deal. Like huge.
Massive.
And I mean, it was the size of the studio. It was tiny. It was probably
Yeah.
half this size at the time. So I said, yeah, I jumped into it and adored my time there. I always say, if there's one job I could go back, or I'd take a Sunday job, I'd go back there because I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, I loved everything about the heritage of the brand. yeah, I'd be lost in it now, but I just love that we were selling for, you know, the love of it. It's not a commission-based thing.
Yes.
When I was there anyway, I don't think they've changed that. But it's knowing the craftsmanship and, you know, again, the storytelling and finding out what somebody's needs and wants are and how you can make that happen. And, you know, there's a lot of joy in retail.
Yeah.
Especially in luxury retail, because it is such a big thing. Not everybody coming in is just able to buy 10 bags in one go, or, you know, it's a big moment and you want to like honour that, I guess, as part of it.
It's an experience, isn't it?
Yeah. And it was from handling these bags that were worth so much, that I was more conscious of my nails and having my nails done. And I went across the road to a girl who was doing gel nails, Karen. And when I was getting my nails done, I thought, God, a lot of her job, the bits are the bits of that I like of my job. And she was going, oh, you should do beauty because it's great and I love it and I write my table, and I'm like, she was brilliant at it and she was really busy and really successful. So she kind of inspired me, and I thought, okay, I will then.
So you went back to train?
Went back to train. I'd moved from Louis Vuitton at this stage to Bali. It's gone now. Okay. Beautiful Bali, amazing Swiss brand. And I spoke to my manager there and I said, you know, can I have Monday as my day off? On the rota, because I want to go back to college. It's on Grafton Street, Cooganberg, and go back in and retrain. And luckily, she made it happen, thank God.
Amazing.
And I went in, and that's where I started. Yeah.
That's grand. We probably trained around, because I went to Galligan's and trained.
Yeah, of course.
In 2004.
Yeah.
Such a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and you're right. It was all those pieces of what you were looking and how you were helping people.
Yeah. And even now, you know, when I'm at things or talking to people, and I'm always saying, like, figure out what you like doing. And it sounds so oversimplified, but it isn't. Like, what brings you joy? What are you good at? And if you can find something that does those two things, that's it. And if you can't, you might need to find it or make it or, you know, create it yourself. But it's that element of what are you good at and what do you enjoy doing? And that's really the secret sauce.
It really is.
For all people, anyone who's really successful, they really enjoy what they do and they're actually good at it.
Yeah. So where was the first place you worked then as a beautician?
So when I was in college, they allowed some students to kind of work and pick up hours and stuff like that. So I did that in Cooganberg. And then I think maybe I had gone in for a treatment in Urban Wax, which used to be above the Grafton Barbers on Grafton Street. And I asked, could I do some hours there? So I was like hoovering and answering the phone. And then when I got my first, you know, maybe it was my SIBTAC facial qualification, you're allowed to do some waxing. So I picked up hours working there. So it was in waxing from straight away. But I went in to do beauty therapy, and it was a Sedesco course I ended up completing. But I went in kind of with a retailer's mindset. I went in going, you can't be good at everything. So when you go in, and it was a new world to me, I hadn't the interest of like that I'd been doing nails before or anything like that. So I just said, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yes.
Because it's all new to you. So just pick whatever you're the best at. Then that's the one.
Concentrate on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was new then as well. People weren't niching down. You know, people were coming out with everything.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a thing then.
Like I've always said it in this room, I've said it 100 times, people really underestimate beauticians. Yeah. What they go through to qualify. You know,
oh my God, it's intense.
It's mental.
Yeah, it is intense.
I had a really clever girl next to me, thank God. Because I'd be like, oh God.
The anatomy and physiology and
really,
all of that.
really hard.
Yeah, people don't, maybe they just don't know.
Well, no, they don't. You only know what you know. But I think you really led the way with like deciding on one area and really concentrating on it. Most of the girls that come to me would have been, you know, I do everything. Yeah.
Well, like I had to do everything in college for it. And I was very lucky because the person who was running it, kind of principal or in charge at the time, And again, it comes back to this day. If you can get a mentor, somebody that's a trusted advisor, somebody that can stretch you that tiny bit. And I found that straight away. Her name's Sonia. Sonia Dwyer, still works in the industry. But she really came in and, saw me come in and said, listen, I was a mature student at that stage, I was probably the eldest in the year. But she's like, you're here to do well. You're not here for a hobby, or you have a job, you have a career. So you need to be getting
really good.
100% out of everything. So she pushed me then to really, achieve the very best I could. That. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm still in touch with her to this day.
It's so
and
important.
Linked
for
in with
us.
her again for our new brand, Your Skin Stuff.
Okay.
So that was a full circle.
Yeah.
But it's like that. It's meeting those people who can bring out the very best in you, because that's what they want to do in their job and role.
It's a huge difference.
So waxing, I knew then when I started in college, and we had our first kind of couple of modules of waxing. I was like, okay, I seem to have a knack here that other people are struggling with.
Okay.
It seemed natural. I don't think I'd ever even gotten waxed prior to that, and it just was like, I can do this. I don't seem to be hurting anybody. I had people queuing up on lunch, in college at lunchtime for a wax. So then I was like, that's it then.
That's your thing.
That'll be it, done.
Absolutely.
Well, nobody grows up going, I really want to be a waxer.
I know.
Hopefully we'll inspire a few, but it was
depends
that
kind of waxing,
all unfolding moment to then niche in on that.
Yeah. And so you get your first job. Where did you get the confidence then to go, I'm good at this. Where am I going to take it? Where's my next step? I
think your clients, especially when I was working in waxing salons and I knew I was good.
Yeah.
I had that skill. So I had the confidence, I suppose, to go, I am really good, which helps a lot.
Yes.
Everything else probably I was not confident in, but I knew that bit with the spatula in my hand, knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I guess my clients were the real cheerleaders. They gave me the confidence then to make that next step of, you should have your own place. You should be doing, I'd come to you wherever you went. And
that's scary for people, isn't it? I'll come to you wherever you go.
I probably didn't believe in myself to that level. I believed in myself of doing a treatment. No problem. But after that, sure, what would I know about opening a salon or owning a business and
your support system then when you're doing that, you've got these people in your workplace telling you that you're really good. Are you living by yourself? Are you living with girlfriends? Have you met?
No, at the time I was trying to think now the timeline. I was in my kind of nearly my late 20s, and I was married, but very briefly. So I was in a relationship that was breaking down. So I suppose my life wasn't great.
Yes.
So my work was my safe place, and I could work. I'd happily, even when I opened Waxperts, I'd be happy there 8 till 8, no problem.
Yeah.
Because that was my soft place to fall for a very long time. Because it was where all the good stuff was, where your security was, where your confidence was, where, everything kind of came and felt like home.
Yes.
But I think, having in my industry, you have that client base, and their belief and their encouragement and their loyalty is huge.
Yeah.
And it means so much to anybody in our industry. And probably as a client, you just think, I get my nails done here and my hair done there.
Yeah.
But your loyalty and encouragement and all of that, it's so
massive.
Valuable, to the person
Super
that's
important.
doing the treatments.
But then you go into retail, wholesale, I should say, and training. That's a massive step from having a salon. I want to say thank you so much to Ella and Joe, our sponsors of this episode of Bell Podcast. Ella and Joe is all about bringing a joy and vibrancy to skincare. Each product is inspired by nature and boosted by science, designed to deliver the most amazing results, but also to be kind to your skin. It is luxury moments that brighten up our day. And as always, I want to bring it back to me with my 2 hero products. The 3-in-1 Hyaluronic Spritz, it stays in my bag all the time. And if you haven't tried Melt Away, then it's a must. It's the most beautiful cleanser. And don't forget, all BeBell listeners can get 20% off all full-size products online. Just use the code BeBell at checkout. So thank you, Ella and Joe, for sponsoring this series of BeBell Podcast.
Yeah, I knew once I went out on my own, I knew Waxperts was the name, and it all kind of went from there. I knew I had something bigger than it was just me in a room waxing clients. I knew it was going to be something bigger.
Yeah.
So like it just had to expand, and the time came where are we going to open loads more salons, or how do you expand that business, And I had no business knowledge. I didn't know, I didn't go to college doing business. So I didn't know anything. But that's sometimes the best advantage you have, knowing nothing, because you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And you don't know the right way to do something. So you're just doing it to get the motion going and getting it done. And that can really be the best thing ever, because you're naive. So you can't be daunted by what's ahead because you don't know.
Yeah, no,
you can't. You're not a seasoned entrepreneur that can go, well, here's what's going to come around the corner.
Yeah.
You're just going, I'm so passionate about this. I'm going to knock every wall down to get through. And that's like, you can't put a price on that.
Yes. Were you scared at all? Obviously, like behind the scenes, things are making big changes for you in your personal life. There's an investment into going down this road as well.
Like when the kind of crash was coming and it was really difficult. It was like 2008. So trying to get a bank loan and trying to get money was really, really tough. So it did feel like I was dragons den into every bank and every bank manager or anybody who could help me, or did you know somebody who was in a bank, or that I went through all of that. So it was hard fought.
Yeah.
But no, I think because it came down to that confidence that no matter what, even today, no matter what, I can pick up a spatula and do a great wax.
Yes.
No matter what.
Yeah.
And that's my baseline of like, I can plug in my wax pot anywhere in the world and start.
And I think when you don't have, like when you have that, like I always say to people, I'm never worried about money because I'll wash a dish in a restaurant. I'll always have a job.
Yeah.
Because I'm not worried about what job I have. There will always be a job.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same. Like you always know that you can pick up that wax. You have a trade. You have something going. And that recession was tough. Like beyond tough for beauty. I remember I used to run the David Lloyd River Club down the road. Every year on the 1st of January, there'd be all the new cars would be in the car park, And I just bought my first beauticians in 2008. Shite timing. And I remember January 2009, I went out to the car park and there was no new cars. And I just went, oh shit.
Yeah.
And it was
really
tough on beauty.
Yeah. I guess I was lucky in the sense that, the treatment that Waxperts and we specialise in and that we train people in now, it's just waxing. I never deviated into anything else. I never added in tanning, nails. I stuck to that niche.
Yeah.
And I knew that of all the treatments that you can kind of try and do at home, even though you can try and do waxing and have some success at home, but there's some bits of it, Brazilians and Hollywoods, people aren't going to be able to do at home. No. So there'll always be a place for that. And I do still believe that it really is a bread and butter treatment of salons. And I know that landscape has changed. Things have gone more into aesthetics and, there's a lot of that. However, I do see maybe into next year and the year after that coming and changing around, because those bread and butter treatments, you have to put that extra love and care into because they're so important. To a salon.
When you find a good waxer, they're with you forever.
Yeah.
It's a real loyalty thing as well.
Very much so, yeah.
I wouldn't divert from the arrows when it comes from waxing. Like,
that's it.
You find your person.
For sure.
And I agree, like, I really think it is a bread and butter treatment. And I think people can get a bit overcomplicate things, I think is probably the word, and offer too much. And actually,
I think beauty is just one of those things. There's always something shiny and new. Yeah. And especially after COVID, people are rattled because they've downsized or they've changed, their business models changed, and they feel I better be doing, what's brand new that everybody wants, but also what's, go back to the basics sometimes. Yeah, it's great to have some of the treatments, but, you need to be great at, the stuff that people are going to come back again and again and not be
Absolutely.
Missing out on.
And so as Waxperts grows, I suppose, in your personal life, when are you ready to meet somebody else?
So I met somebody, my husband, like a few years later, and he's works for himself. So it kind of
two people working for themselves in the same
so
household.
It's kind of a similar, I suppose it's a similar mindset of, how you approach things. It's
Do you think
different mindset,
that helps
an entrepreneurial one. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely, because I don't think that kind of balance that people talk about is a thing.
Yes.
I think it's
I
agree. Something that was pandered out years ago and people clung on to. It's not realistic in an entrepreneurial situation or a business owner situation.
Yeah.
Because when you switch off, that's when the ideas come.
Yes.
So you're still working, your mind is still going, but because you love what you do, that's okay too.
Yeah.
It's just about trying to find peace with it all.
Yeah.
As opposed to being, okay, 9 to 5, and then I'm definitely not doing this, or I'm definitely not picking up the phone. The second you switch off is when all the creative floodgates open, and you have to be ready to jump on it.
Yeah, your brain will always be on, won't it, when you work for yourself? That's just the natural way. I do turn my phone off occasionally, do you know what I mean? Because I need that time.
Yeah.
But as you say, that's when everything starts coming together.
Yeah, for sure. And you need that. If you want to innovate, you need to be not always thinking of it, but you need to have that part of your brain open and looking at things around your surroundings or what's happening. Like that's always ticking away, because then the innovation will come in and you'll be like, oh, I have a great idea now for this. And those great ideas don't leave you,
No,
it'll
never.
be there and you'll be like, that's a great idea. Or that's happening in this industry. How does that work in ours?
Mm. Yeah, no, it's so true. I also, I put my head down, I work hard, but I try and travel every month, even if it's somewhere in Ireland sometimes. But mostly I try and get on a flight, because when I'm not working, but I always come back with something.
Yeah, oh, totally. Yeah. Just wandering around and looking at fashion or windows, or, I'd still be drawn to retail to that level of like, what's the visual merchandising doing?
Yes.
What's the window telling me? What's different? What's in the detail?
Yeah.
How can we bring that
You'd have to
in?
look
Or
at that
we
brand.
do trade shows. So I'd be like, how could we do a stand that would like be different and cool and bring some other element in?
Yeah. I know. Yeah, no, the world is fascinating, and it's so small now that we get to experience it all, which is amazing. And so you'd think Waxperts would be enough, but it's never enough for you. So, how do you evolve then? How does the business keep evolving?
I think with Waxperts, we're a professional, beauty brand.
Yes.
So, our customers are the other salon owners. And I think that's been very tough for that industry after COVID.
Yeah.
So there's lots of evolution that'll be happening there, and there's lots of potential there. That's when all the opportunity comes. As tough as it seems for that industry now, like it's just ripe for opportunity, coming in. So that's really exciting, and I suppose Waxperts is my first baby, so I'll always have that passion for it, of what's next and what's coming down the line. And then for our newest launch business, Your Skin Stuff, we actually started that in 2011, myself and my husband.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we started that then, and because it was like a problem that came to our house.
Yeah.
I've 4 amazing stepkids. We have our own boy now who's 11, and just getting kids to wash their face as if they do their teeth. It's a battle sometimes, but it's so important. Our skin's our biggest organ. We only have to look after it forever.
Yeah.
So it's just the importance of that, healthy habit. So we started it then because we knew there wasn't anything there. We were trying to get the kids to mind their skin. There was skin concerns with breakouts and normal hormonal stuff at that age. And then because I was expanding Waxperts, we said, right, we'll press pause while I do that. And then a few years ago, the same thing with our own son. And I came home one day and I said, remember that? I said, we're bringing it back because nothing's changed. There's still this white space. And then all the noise started happening of kids using, adult skincare. And I was going, this even proves my point further. They want to use something. They want to be part of it. And it's how beauty is consumed now. Years ago, you'd have magazines. Now, the younger kids or teenagers and young people, they're seeing everything digitally.
Yeah.
So it hasn't changed that the consumption's there of like looking at what's new or what's, this treatment or what's this product. It's just where they're getting that.
But
and that's all
launching
digital.
this, I know, I was going to say, launching
it's
this now,
digital.
just super digital.
Yeah, for sure. But there's an element within the age group that that is our customer, which is preteens, 8 to 12, that at that younger age, there's a change that happens.
Yeah.
Kids have a little more independence over their personal care. You're not in the bath, washing their hands, washing their face. They have a little bit more independence of going up to do their face, hands and teeth, or they're in a shower. And then, of course, things are going to slip off. If the water hits them, you're doing well.
Yes.
It's not going to be as thorough. But yet, it's at that age that they are changing. So they do need to look after their skin in the sense of washing it, caring for it.
Yeah.
And teaching them how to do that.
Yeah.
They don't suddenly, you end up in your mid-teens and know how to cleanse and wash your face or treat it if you have dryness or if you have breakouts or if you have oiliness. That's a learned thing. So the same as your teeth. You don't just know how to floss it or that you should be doing that. That's taught, and then it has to become a habit.
Yeah.
So it has to be backed on.
And it's
wash your face, do your teeth, put on your SPF.
Time.
Stuff we didn't know about doing SPF.
Yeah.
But especially with, that controversy, I say, of the younger kids wanting adult products. It's not that they want adult products. They just want to be part of what they see their slightly older peers doing. And that part is play.
Yeah.
No different when we had the clip-clop plastic heels or our, big giant head doll to do the makeup. There's an element of play. You can get all the baby products, all the bath products. That's a part of play in the bath.
Yes.
And it's just that they want to be doing their little routine. And the boys love it because they, it's for them. It's specifically for them. Okay. And then they kind of take it on. And they're like, oh yeah, I'll do it because I know it's for me. And they want to wash their face.
Concern, because I'm just thinking, if you've got like a teenager that doesn't have a skin concern, I'm just like, if you've got them in that routine already.
Yeah.
Like obviously,
it's
we
much
always
easier
say,
to manage.
Yeah.
I think, we would know now, we got to wear SPF.
Yes.
We need to clean our face because of all the pollutants. It's not just about removing makeup. It's minding our skin, but it's also keeping it balanced so that we're not stripping away everything. Like years ago, we'd just be given a bit of witch hazel or something, and then you'd spend weeks trying to rehydrate your skin. It was like sandpaper, it was all extremes.
Flaking off then under your chin.
So it's trying to have that, take away that extreme element and just have it. But the younger age group, those lipids really haven't developed. So sometimes you can see in kids, it's not baby soft. It kind of feels nearly sandpapery.
Yes.
Because they don't have everything developed in their skin, all those layers of the skin, or they're out playing loads, they're out on pitches. They might be more sensitive and coming in with that really rosy, flush cheeks, the little chops on them. So the skin is up against it. It's trying its best. So we need to help protect it. And the biggest thing, and what we're trying to do, apart from having the healthy habits, is to get that skin barrier really strong. That's our shield.
Yeah.
And if we have a strong skin barrier, that'll help all the way through. Because using products that are too strong will damage that.
Yeah.
And that's where the issue comes in.
It's funny, actually, I have a lot of nieces, and one is 9, one of my sisters has a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old, and the 12-year-old's into everything now. And she's like, she sent me a picture, can you get me this for Christmas? And it was like a sleep ritual sort of thing. And I was like, okay, fair play. The 9-year-old is just getting into, because she's watching her.
Of course.
So it's like, where do we start her? Where safely?
Yeah, that's it.
Because it's amazing that there is now.
There is. And a big thing, I suppose, with the beauty background, I really wanted to have ingredients and to have the brand that had the best of skincare. It's not some dumbed down thing because it's for kids. That's not the vibe. It's the best of skincare ingredients. And even, meeting adults and parents buying it, they're like, oh, I hope it doesn't have this. I said, it does. I said, because that is a really solid ingredient that's in millions of products, that's tried and tested, that comes out of labs, that has gone through the ringer, and we have it formulated at a lower, safer percentage, especially for younger skin. and we did independent dermatological testing on it, you know, to give parents that reassurance.
Yeah.
But it's not that active ingredients are bad. You know, hyaluronic is bad, niacinamide is bad. They're not.
Yes.
They're really good.
Yeah.
They're brilliant.
But it just depends on what level and get it right for their skin.
And let's show why this is good for this one.
Yeah.
And why salicylic is brilliant for blackheads. Like, why would we use something that's not great? Why don't we use something that we know is brilliant?
Yeah.
And bring it that, and it's that education piece. But the kids know, they know the ingredients, how to pronounce them, what they look like.
It's hilarious,
but
isn't
it's
it?
just that it's okay, this is safe. And even, you know, you can have anything from the range. It's all safe. You know, you don't have to figure out what's suitable.
It's so lovely, and it's so easy then for parents, because I think that's, people are always worried about doing the wrong thing, and you've created a space where they can be safe to do the right thing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what's next for you?
Well, we've a lot of big plans for your skin stuff.
Okay.
You know, we really see that expanding a lot, especially into, you know, immediate into next year, and new products, and our I suppose our customer and our lovely advisors of preteens are very passionate, and they're not shy. So they tell us exactly what we should be doing all the time, and what's a good idea and what's not, very quickly.
Yeah.
So that's great. So yeah, it's kind of expanding on that, you know.
It's amazing. And what's next for you? You know, BeBell is all about us and looking after ourselves as well. So what do you want from the next 12 months?
I think we've done a lot of kind of streamlining in getting back to basics with Waxperts and with your skin stuff, and having, you know, a great team and having a kind of a clear vision. Yeah. And then just planning that out and executing it. So I think, you know, we're excited for where we're going. Yeah. And we're very ambitious for our growth. Okay. But I think sometimes you have to wait, and it has to be that magic, you know, right time, right place, right product. You know, you can have the right product, but it's the wrong time. So when we were in 2011, we may have had the same brilliant stuff, wouldn't have landed. No, it wouldn't have. You know, so sometimes you got to be in the right place, the right time with the right product, and let all of that come together. Amazing. And that's what we hope we're feeling now, that it's, you know, all those things are coming together. I think it's such the perfect time, and it's so lovely. Listen, we always ask someone to answer a question from the previous guest. Okay. So I am going to pass you the question. This was left for you. Okay. So what is the question? What should you have said that you didn't? Oh, interesting. I can think of a few of those. I'm very hard on myself. Okay. So I probably should have told myself that I was doing okay, or that I was proud of myself, or that, wow, you've come through a lot. You know I'm very resilient. I think that's one of my strengths, but it's, you know, it's because of what I've had to overcome constantly. Yeah. So I think I probably would have said to myself more reassuring things. Okay. Than just, you know, keeping it going. So that's probably... I think that's perfect, because I couldn't agree more. I think we're so tough on ourselves. And I think we could all take a leaf of that and make sure that we're nicer to ourselves going forward. Definitely, because it's not even, you know, the child within. Sometimes it could be the person that had to go through things 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But I do try and remember it, and I have a photo on my office desk of me as a little girl. Do you? Yeah. I love that. I glance over to it, just, amazing. Just to go, you're doing okay. Yeah. You can do it. That's the thing. You can do it. You can get through it. You can, and it is just do it, isn't it? Because you can. It is. You have to keep going. Yeah. But listen, I thank you so much for coming in today. Thank you so much. It was lovely. I've got a feeling that I could be a very popular auntie. I'm going to come and have a look at all these products now. So. But a great space, and congratulations on everything you've achieved. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you for listening to this week's BeBell podcast. Don't forget, you can find us on social media. If you've got any questions, then please don't hesitate to DM us at BeBell_wellness. You can also find this
on our YouTube channel, which is my YouTube channel, Sian Horn. And don't forget, the more people that subscribe, the better that we can make this pod. So don't forget, like and subscribe across all channels. And thank you.